Priest are back on the road together with Saxon and Uriah Heep on their massive Metal Masters Invincible Shield Tour. So let's take a look at this tour and its production, discuss some rather interesting setlist choices and overall band's forms, and then answer the question whether it is still even worth seeing those bands live in 2024. Here you go. By the way guys, just in case it is not entirely clear from the intro, but this video does actually include setlist spoilers, so just keep that in mind. And as always, please do not hesitate to comment on anything you hear or see in this video, and especially if you disagree with me, because the whole point of our Metal Pilgrim channel is of course to start a conversation. But alright, let's do it. So, at least on paper, the lineup of this tour looks absolutely insane, with the three bands having around 150 million albums sold collectively. Yet, nevertheless, since it is not really a touring festival, the setlist lengths for all three bands vary quite a lot. And so when it comes to Uriah Heep, on the opening night of the tour, they only got to play 5 tracks, yet were still able to perform 2 live debuts from their latest studio output, Chaos in Color, which came out in 2023, and expanding their setlist to 7 tracks on the following nights, naturally closing with their biggest hit and possibly one of the best hard rock songs ever written. But at the same time, when it comes to the second opening act, one of, if not the founders of the new wave of British heavy metal movement, Saxon, those guys play on average 13 or 14 tracks on the tour, which is pretty much equivalent of a full headlining set for most young bands, on which they are able to squeeze in some of their biggest hits, together with 4 new songs from their Hell, Fire and Damnation record.
Hellfire and Damnation!
And so when it comes to the new stuff, on every night of this tour so far, Saxon fans were treated with the title track of the new record, There's Something in Roswell, Madame Guillotine, and Fire and Steel, which happens to be one of my personal favorite songs from their latest studio output, yet which in all honesty I did not expect the band to play live on this tour at all, since it also happens to be one of the hardest songs to perform live Saxon have written in quite a long time. But anyways, if you've seen my latest interview with Biff Byford, you know we've discussed how unique of a guitar player Diamond Head's Brian Tatler actually is. And here's the thing, for me, I've always considered Brian to be one of the most influential guitarists of all time. And so I believe it is absolutely amazing to see him up on stage together with Saxon and finally getting that recognition that, in my opinion, he definitely deserves. Now being not just a performer and playing the tracks which were written before him, but also getting to play some of the tracks he co-wrote together with his new band. But nevertheless, one of the highlights of this tour so far for all Saxon fans was of course the appearance of the legendary Paul Quinn, who came up on stage together with his old band on the second night of the tour to perform the band's biggest hits, Denim and Leather and Princess of the Night. And in all honesty, I cannot even imagine how insane it must have felt for all Saxon fans to see Paul up on stage together with Saxon that night. Last but definitely not least about the Saxon set. But in all honesty, I have no idea what is going on, but Biff Byford, despite being 73 years old, somehow sounds absolutely incredible live on this tour, and possibly even much better so than in the last couple of years, or at least that's what it sounds like from all the clips we can see online and from all the comments the Metal Pilgrims who were able to attend those shows have sent us so far. By the way guys, in case you didn't realize that and this is your first time on the channel, but unfortunately no, I'm not able to witness the Invincible Shield Tour live this year once again. And all because of one mad dictator's crazy ambitions and his insane army of orcs. So guys, please do not forget that the biggest war since World War II is going on right now, right in the middle of Europe. And thank you to everyone who continues supporting us in any way they personally can. Oh, by the way, one more thing about Saxon I forgot to say. In the middle of their set, they're actually giving the crowd a choice of which song to play, making their poor fans choose between Dallas 1 PM or Crusader, which, in all honesty, is one of the most cruel things to do. Because, come on, both of those songs are absolutely incredible, and they both definitely do deserve to be in the setlist. Although Uriah Heep and Saxon are incredible bands, the main thunder of the night, of course, still belongs to nobody else but metal gods themselves. Which I guess is kind of ironic, given they don't really play that song live every night. And overall, if you want to analyze their setlist, you cannot really do that, for so far, it actually has changed at every of those concerts. When I first heard the intro to Panic Attack, I immediately assumed that it would be the opening track for the upcoming Judas Priest tour. That old school 80s sounding synth and guitar intro is simply made to be played on tape live before the full band kicks in with full power and vigor with the opening notes of the first verse of the song. And this is exactly how Judas Priest decided to play it live this year. Panic Attack is not only an incredible concert opener, but it actually has some qualities similar to those of the Hellion and Electric Eye, which I didn't really pick up on listening to the studio version of it. But just like those legendary tracks, it is actually able to build the anticipation, making every fan in the crowd excited for what is to come, and then keep the momentum going for the duration of the entire track, simultaneously having a very simple chorus, which is rather easy to remember for every fan and therefore easily engages the audience right from the very first song of the setlist. Overall, on every night of the tour so far, Judas Priest performed 3 songs from their latest studio output, Invincible Shield. Those in addition to Panic Attack being the title track and Trial by Fire, which on the 3rd night of the tour has been switched to Crown of Horns. And just like we expected in our review of Invincible Shield, its title track, it looks like right away has become one of the highlights of the concert overall, with its very catchy chorus sounding larger than life while being performed together with thousands of heavy metal maniacs. One of the most surprising thing about the Judas Priest setlist is of course the choice of the speedy songs, as in addition to the aforementioned Panic Attack and Invincible Shield, the band has also performed Rapid Fire, and in case of the first night, right after the opening track. Lightning Strike from Firepower, Screaming for Vengeance, and Painkiller, all 5 of which are actually incredibly hard to perform live for a band in their 20s, let alone for a band at its 55th year of existence. And of course, in addition to all those, as promised by Rob Halford himself, on the opening night of the tour, Judas Priest also performed some of the deeper cuts from their catalog, including playing Live by its first time live since 2015, and for the very first time ever in the United Kingdom, and bringing back the once forgotten stained glass masterpiece, Saints in Hell, which in all honesty is one of my personal favorite tracks from the early Judas Priest era. And other than that, the Judas Priest setlist is of course packed with those classics without which you simply cannot really imagine a Judas Priest concert. And here we come to the most interesting part, that many of those, including the songs we just discussed, were actually substituted by the band on the second and the third night, bringing into the setlist the no less iconic songs like Sinner, You Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise, or the legendary Electric Eye in the beginning of the encore, making it rather obvious that no song actually has a secure spot on the setlist on this tour and can easily be substituted by another no less legendary track. And this is exactly what we love about this band. Judas Priest have one of the most strong and diverse back catalogs in the world of heavy metal. And unlike many other acts who just perform their most popular tunes, Judas Priest never really shown away from making some surprising choices when it comes to their set lists. Just like, for example, including the song Sword of Damocles from the Redeemer of Souls album in the setlist of their latest show in Dublin, Ireland, which, let's be honest here, was a huge surprise to pretty much everyone. And in addition, Judas Priest is one of those iconic bands which, just like Iron Maiden, Metallica, and a couple of other acts in heavy metal, many diehard fans love to follow for way more than just one show on a tour. And so it looks like this setlist switch on each of those shows is Judas Priest's little gift to all of their loyal fans who've stuck with the band through everything for so many years. When it comes to the stage entourage, Judas Priest decided to not reinvent the wheel. Just like last year when we discussed Iron Maiden kicking off their Future Past tour, I'm gonna say that the pedestal and the overall feel of the stage is pretty similar to what Judas Priest have had in the last couple of years. So I'm actually pretty sure that Judas Priest most likely own the stage hardware, and by which they of course are able to drastically reduce the cost of each tour's production.
Yeah, me too.
Yet of course still make it look and feel different with the different drapes to represent each of the tour's themes. But the biggest difference on Invincible Shield Tour is that Judas Priest now have 6 different screens, which help make this production look very modern and at the same time visually captivating. Oh, and one other important aspect of it is that despite Glenn Tipton, of course, unfortunately, not being able to physically be together with the band on stage, the boys are still able to pay tribute to him with the footage on those screens. And of course, in addition to all that, we also have a Judas Priest cross hanging from the ceiling, which, let's be honest here, kind of became a Judas Priest thing now, as the band has had it for several tours already, and it almost feels like Motorhead's Bomber, like it's kind of always been there. You know. And to be honest with you, even today, several years later, I still believe that it looks absolutely kick-ass, and in addition adds a little bit more heaviness and monumentalism to the overall stage production. In all fairness, in addition to all that, there's not really that much to discuss about the stage. I mean, there's nothing really unusual about it. So let's move to the backstage. One of the coolest things about the Invincible Shield Tour is that some of the fans on it will be treated to the backstage experience, where for an additional whatever amount of money, you can get an exclusive peek at what is going on behind the scenes at a Judas Priest show, take a picture with some instruments, a Metal Gods jacket, sit on the famous motorbike, or if you're lucky, even meet the band and take a picture with them, just like many fans were in the first nights of this tour. Which, I'll be honest with you, if I would be able to go to this tour, I would most likely save up some money and go for it.
Shut up and take my money!
But still, the coolest thing for me is that now, thanks to our metal pilgrim Shannon, we can take a look at Metal God's checklist before he hits the stage every night. So let's do it. Number 1, shave head. Seriously, what? I mean, for some weird reason, I always thought that people shave their heads to not really take care of their hair. I mean, I get a haircut every, I don't know, 4 weeks or something like that, but Rob literally has to shave his head every time he hits the stage. It's so weird. I never really thought about it.
6.5 hours later.
No, seriously, being bald as ironic as it may sound, but it actually requires taking more care of your hair than, actually having hair. But anyways, in addition to shaving head, Rob Halford checks the Spanx, knee supports, codpiece, boots, jewelry, makeup, chaps, braces, belt plus pack, which we can see on the table next to the container for his in-ears. Ears, tape, gloves and wristbands, shirt, jacket, aftershave, glasses, stick, and ta-da! And while for many this list of course means absolutely nothing, I still believe that such tours, which allow you to peek into the world behind the scenes of one of your favorite bands and bring you closer to the inner kitchen of the artist you've been listening to for God knows how many years, is a great way for an artist to connect with their fan base. And I truly wish that more and more bands would do something similar to this. And well, of course, this is definitely not for everyone, but for those diehard fans who are willing to go for it, these would definitely be the memories they will cherish forever. I know I would. While kicking off this tour, Judas Priest received the first chart positions for Invincible Shield, which is right now on a roll to become the highest charting album in the band's entire career. And this is after both Saxon's Hellfire and Damnation and Uriah Heep's Chaos and Color did extremely well all around the world, which just once again shows that Metal Masters' Invincible Shield Tour is a true celebration of what the British rock and metal scene has given to the world throughout the years. And of course, on the first nights of the tour, just like it is for every band at every tour, there could have been some mess-ups from the boys on stage, yet if we take a look at how Priest, Saxon and Heep sound like as the tour progresses, we can see how the band's shows are becoming more and more refined as the tour goes on. So my opinion is that in all honesty, if you do have a chance to witness this tour live, and you're still contemplating whether to do this or not, I honestly have no idea what you're thinking about. Even if you're not really a fan of either of those three bands, just the whole fact that in 2024 you can see Uriah Heep, Saxon and Judas Priest up on the same stage is mind-blowing. And I've released more content about Invincible Shield than I did pretty much about any other album ever on this show. And I do acknowledge that, and I promise you guys we will talk about some other bands soon. But the reason behind that is that because I truly believe that this is an exceptional album, and especially from a band at its 55th year of existence. And I would absolutely love to hear any of the songs from this album live, and especially when those are combined with some of the biggest hits and the deep cuts, which so many of us Judas Priest fans have been begging the band to play for quite a long time. So if you ask me, yes, this tour is worth every penny you might pay for it. But what about you? What do you guys personally think about it? Please let us know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!